This past season, the New York Rangers had one of the better offensive forward lines in all of hockey, made up of Artemi Panarin, Vincent Trocheck, and Alexis Lafreniere, the former first overall pick. So in today's video, we're going to kind of take a look at the New York Rangers, I would say top forward line here of Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere, and kind of break this line down, talk about kind of what they did this past season, but also kind of preview and project and predict kind of what they could do for this upcoming season together, more than likely, which I do kind of predict to be the top forward line for the New York Rangers for this upcoming season. I think they're going to be a obviously big and very important factor for this team. They are I would say, the top forward line. On paper, you can kind of see from last year, it's kind of been, like the Kreider to Benny line up in that kind of top line. But I truly do think the best forward line of the New York Rangers is Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere from this past season. Will probably be the top forward line once again for this upcoming season as they look to have another phenomenal offensive year. And defensively, they definitely have their issues and their woes, but for the most part there, that line as a whole is absolutely amazing offensively and truly a dynamic offensive line. And there have been some Rangers fans who have kind of talked about the possibility of potentially seeing Lafreniere kind of get moved down to go alongside Kreider and Zibanejad instead of being alongside Panarin and Trocheck, which I understand that thought process. It makes sense that you want to kind of try and spread out that scoring there because, Kreider and Zibanejad, they can have their moments when they're on fire, but they can also have their moments, for the most part, when they're, completely cold, not doing a ton offensively. They can be pretty, hot and cold players there. So maybe putting a guy by the name of Lafreniere there with his great offensive talent, his shot, his playmaking ability, his physicality at moments, his overall just great offensive play, putting him alongside guys like Kreider and Zibanejad after Lafreniere had that great kind of, confidence booster from this past season. Maybe he could have a phenomenal year playing alongside guys like Kreider and Zibanejad, kind of spread out the scoring there. That's not a bad idea. I don't hate the idea, but personally, I would rather see Trocheck, Panarin, and Lafreniere kind of stay together there. Lafreniere was just so good last year, and I don't want to see anything kind of possibly mess that up. I don't think it would necessarily, but I think with what Lafreniere did last year alongside Panarin and Trocheck, that line really built a lot of great chemistry together. They obviously have played a full season now together, had that playoff run. Although it didn't work out the overall maybe best possible outcome, you could say, through the playoffs there was still a pretty good line there. Lafreniere still put up some great offensive numbers. So did Trocheck. Panarin was a little worse than I would say Trocheck and Lafreniere were in the playoffs, but still, that line was phenomenal there, and I do think they should stay together, although changing things up there and trying to spread out that scoring would not be the worst idea at all, as you would have a guy like Riley Smith there probably now playing alongside Panarin and Trocheck. That could be a pretty good line there, and then have, Kreider's advantage at Lafreniere. That's a pretty balanced and great top six, but personally, I would rather see Lafreniere stay alongside Panarin and Trocheck. And the offensive production that this line put up last season was truly phenomenal. Lafreniere had a career high in goals, assists, and points. You have Trocheck having a career high in assists and points, as well as Panarin having a career high in goals and assists, but he did so by quite a bit there. He had 49 goals this past season. The previous career high was 32. And for points there, he had 120 this past season. His previous career high was only 96. So a massive jump up in production offensively from Panarin there. Not quite at that career high in assists, but still did an absolutely stellar job offensively last season. They're obviously not a great, all-around defensive player or physically as well, but just a really solid offensive player, absolutely dynamic offensively. His passing, his vision, his overall ability to just create offense. I mean, it's not just the passing playmaking, it's also the goal scoring there. He had 49 goals this past season, almost cracked that 50 mark, which is pretty phenomenal to see for a more of a kind of pass-first guy you kind of seem to think of when you think of Panarin there, in my opinion. So Panarin put up some absolutely just ridiculous numbers last year, and hopefully he can come somewhat close to that this upcoming season. But as good as they were offensively this past season, defensively, this line was not too great in the playoffs or in the regular season there. Offensively, they were absolutely phenomenal. They were one of the overall kind of better forward lines offensively in the entire NHL, in the playoffs, and in the regular season there. But they definitely were not great defensively. So that's kind of an area where hopefully, Lafreniere and Trocheck can really kind of try and kind of work on that. Obviously, Panarin there, we know he's got just kind of that offensive guy there, especially at this point in his career. Not going to develop much of a defensive game, obviously, but a guy like Lafreniere there can hopefully kind of really get a bit better defensively and obviously kind of work on that. He's not a bad defensive player, but working on that. He's still very young there, not turning 23 until October. So hopefully he can get better defensively there, kind of help out more in that area, as we do have a guy like Panarin who's that elite offensive guy. Trocheck's that's great kind of two-way guy already, but if Lafreniere can get better defensively as well, that could do wonders for this line as a whole. And the New York Rangers do have Artemi Panarin turning 33 years old in late October, so there is a chance we finally do see Panarin kind of take a bit of a decline in his overall offensive production, his overall game, as he is getting older. But the good part about his game is the fact that he is not some, super speedster out there on the ice. He is a guy who is more of a kind of, slower guy out there on the ice, not the best skater in the world, but has that amazing vision, the passing, the shooting, the hockey IQ. So I think that's kind of the good part there. The game sense, stuff like that isn't really going to go away, obviously, for now. So I think that's kind of fine there. I'm not too worried about that. I think Panarin should still be a very lethal offensive threat for this Rangers team. We definitely could put up still, 90-plus points. Next up here, we have a 31-year-old Vincent Trocheck, who I personally think is probably coming off of the best NHL season of his career so far. He put up some phenomenal numbers there. Almost hit a point per game there. 77 points in 82 games played is not too bad at all. He had just some great numbers offensively, but the important part about his game is the fact that he is not just a good offensive player. He is great defensively. He is great on the faceoffs, a good special teams guy, can help on the power play and the penalty kill. He's an all-around good player on and off the ice. Seems like a great locker room guy and a leader as well. I think he's just an all-around great guy to have on your hockey team, especially when you consider that cap hit and that contract. He is a very valuable player to have, and I do think he will more than likely have another great season, being somewhere around a point per game once again this upcoming season. Now taking a look, though, at the rising star, Alexis Lafreniere. He is turning 23 in kind of mid-October there. Still pretty young. Obviously a guy who is nowhere near a finished product. He can definitely get a lot better there. Still has a lot of room to develop and kind of grow as a hockey player, but I do think clearly took some massive steps forward in his overall game this past season. Finally got that consistent top 6 minutes alongside some consistent line mates, and he really kind of proved Peter Laviolette that he is right there to put him in the top 6 there and allow Lafreniere to be alongside some top 6 caliber forwards in Panarin and Trocheck there, and he obviously had that phenomenal, stellar breakout season there, having a career high in all 3 categories, points, assists, and goals. He was phenomenal there, and I do think we should probably see another great year to Lafreniere, and we very well could see him take another big step in his game. I think the overall confidence that he got from this past playoff run, as well as this past regular season there, should do his career wonders. He's very young, and I'm sure he's going to be hungry to have another big season, as he is going to be looking to sign a pretty massive contract next offseason as he does become a restricted free agent. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for more New York Rangers content as we do get closer to this upcoming season and preseason. I'll be back to posting every single day. So if you're a Rangers fan, you want daily videos, hit that like and subscribe button. But also, don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on this top forward line for the New York Rangers, made up of Artemi Panarin, Vincent Trocheck, and the young potential superstar in Alexis Lafreniere. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one, and see ya.